for electronic music makers. I'm your host, Corey Luna. On AV is Rich Hogben. And tonight we feature Woke-Ass Messiah and Peter Nyboer. And before we get started with the performances, I wanted to show you a little something that we have. Modular Alliance has put together a vinyl compilation. Now, this is a brand new vinyl that has just recently come out. You can find it at Mission Synths here in San Francisco, and it'll soon be at many other locations to purchase, including, I believe, Patchworks in I think in Seattle. Pretty sure about that, and many other record shops as well, soon to come. We'll also have a Bandcamp page for it. Probably in almost a little less than a month, early July, maybe mid-July, we should have it available as well with digital downloads separately, so you don't have to always buy the vinyl to get that as well. So just a little something I wanted to let everyone know about, and to let you know who's on it. We've got some really interesting people on here. We've got 8 independent artists. We've got Wabi Sabi, Alpha Stare, Malarkey, Kizzle. It's all side A. And side B is Need for Storms, Frank Martin, Tanuki Spidercat, and Clark Harding. It's going for $25, and it was a really fun project to work on, and we're hoping to do another one soon in the future, depending on the sale of the first one. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's go on with the show. Let's say hello to our guests, Woke-Ass Messiah and Peter Nyboer. Good to see you. Thanks for being here today, everyone. We'll be having Woke-Ass Messiah perform first. I believe he's in Oregon, maybe outside of Eugene. And thank you for the thumbs up, sir. And Peter Nyboer is in San Jose, not too far from where I am. So thanks again to both of you for joining me. Peter and I have had a couple of conversations over the years. I had him on my podcast, North Beats, a couple of years ago in 2019. And Woke-Ass Messiah, he and I know each other from different Discord channels of modular synthesizer communities, like Earth Modular Society is a good one, of course. So, and it's always a pleasure to have more people on that expand the community, which is what Piqued has always been about. And so the performances, as I think I've already said, but let's do a little quick refresher. We'll have both performances back to back, followed by a group interview. If you have any questions about the performance or the artist specifically, anything about their gear, please let us know in the chat in YouTube or Twitch, and I'll be sure to field your questions during the interview section. So if we're ready, Woke-Ass Messiah, are you ready to play? All right. Please, everyone, give a warm welcome to Woke-Ass Messiah.
Even so, will my spirit this day hurt and in reverence said, let my Lord King forever. Benaiah, the son of Joseph, So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coasts of Israel, and found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought to the king. And the damsel was very fair, and nourished the king, and ministered to him with the king. Then Adonijah the son of Haggith sent his 2 sons, saying, I will be king. And he prepared him chariots and horses, and put them before him. But his mother displeased him at any time, and said, He has not done so. And he also was very great, and his mother bare him daughters. And he conferred with Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, he following Adonijah humbly, making priest and Ethan the prophet, and Shemaiah, and the mighty men which belonged to Adonijah, and with sheep, oxen, and fattened camels. So held that purchase by the streams of the Nile, which is mine, and all his brethren the king's sons, and all the men of Judah the king's servants, even the prophet, and Benaiah, and mighty men, and Solomon his brother he called. Wherefore Nathan spake unto Solomon, saying, Hast thou not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith doth pray? However not, come let me, I pray thee, that thou mayest save thine own life, the son Solomon. Go and get thee King David, and say unto him, My lord the king sweareth, saying, Assuredly the sons shall reign after me, and why then doth
Looks like no one can hear me. All right. That's okay. I like talking to myself.
There we go.
Looks like no one can hear me. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. And as I was saying, wonderful to see Woke-Ass Messiah's set. And if anyone has any questions about his set, please let us know in the chat. I'm always happy to field any questions for Carl. And we'll do all that at the end of Peter Nyboer's set, of course. So we'll do a little group interview. But Carl, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, a little quiet, but we can hear you.
All right, sweet.
And that was a very cool set. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
Really happy to have you. And before we get into further questions, let's check with Rich to see if the second portion is ready. He says it's ready. So we're going to go straight into Peter Nyboer's set. We've got it set up in. You gave us 2 videos.
Yes.
Basically, part 1, part 2. So it looks like it should be able to play back to back. So
just for the authenticity's sake, they are live. I just knew I wouldn't be in the headspace today to actually perform. So I had the time and space on the weekend, and so I got some nice things prepared. There is actually a couple overdubs, but you know, it makes a better product.
So it's all good. You know,
right.
What's important is that it's original work.
Exactly.
And just so everyone knows, watching at home, there will be a slight pause between part 1 and part 2 of Peter Nyboer's set, just because of queuing. All right, and I think we're ready to check out Peter Nyboer's set. So, Rich, go ahead. All right. Got a brief moment between Peter's sets of number 1 and 2. And Rich will let me know when part 2 is queued and ready. So, looks like it's ready. Let's go into Peter Nyboer's second part of his set. That was awesome.
All right, thank you.
Everyone, Peter Nyboer, everyone, that was fantastic. God damn. Carl, what'd you think about that?
My mind was blown. That was pretty rad.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really cool.
All right.
Definitely like some 70s psychedelic, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
Really got those vibes out of that in the sound and also in the visuals very much. It was really fun.
Cool. Yeah, it was fun to like I kind of recently redid my whole studio and reorganized everything and got things where I wanted to be and things work. It's just and so it was like just a really wonderful timing to just be like, "You want to do this?" I'm like, "Yes." And it just
Cool.
kind of got to break everything out and get things flowing, and it was a lot of fun.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, your studio's looking nice. You got some beautiful guitars set up everywhere, beautiful lights. It's looking cool over there.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the lighting. These are things that have kind of have accumulated for different things, and then I actually got them in place, and so like I can make good use out of them. So
I
Right on.
aspire
yeah,
to lights. Someday I'll have lights.
yeah, there's some you can get some good cheap ones on AliExpress. So like there, and you can just kind of they're DMX controllable, but you can also like set them up so that they just kind of fade colors, and so I have a combination of those things going. And then I have this stuff, this is the kind of exotic thing, which is running this and this guy up here, this panel up here. That is the Lightstorm module, which is this guy. So it's actually you can
Oh,
integrate it with your modular setup and control LED light strips.
Oh wow.
rad.
Yeah, and that thing is really fun. I got my friend Henry Strange uh, makes those, and so he did that a few years ago. He built a batch of those and did a Kickstarter, and I ended up with one. So
Are those modules still available, or is it a limited time thing?
I don't know. I think he might be doing some of them occasionally. Um, I don't know. You'd have to go to Strange Electronics and find out.
Okay, I'll check that out. That sounds like something that I and maybe some of my friends would definitely enjoy.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's nice because like especially if you're working like so. I'm just kind of like I didn't use much modular in my set. That was like synths in the box, and then all the synths you saw that like I was playing live.
Hmm.
And then, but the modular I actually had wired up just to run the light thing, and have that ambience going, and it's all tempoed synced, so that was kind of nice. Um, so yeah,
Fantastic. Um, and let's jump over to Carl.
Hey,
Carl, hey man. Thanks again for playing tonight. Tell us a little bit about your set. How'd you prepare? What are you using?
well, I'm using my modular setup. I wish I could swing the camera around easily, but I can't. Sorry. It's a modular setup. I've got a travel case, Pittsburgh suitcase. That's kind of the heart of it. And then I use a Mother 32 and DFAM stack. Um, I have a cabinet that has a bunch of modular in it, and then I recently my most recent kind of setup here is the WMD performance mixer. Just hook that up about 2 weeks ago. So everything I've been doing in the last 2 weeks has been in service of learning how to use that. And I ended up rewiring my whole setup through my patch bay. So the the performance mixer is sort of in an always patched state and I can just very easily route different modules to it, and it's just a matter of kind of keeping everything in my head, like where does everything go. So I'm kind of learning strategies for uh, always patching certain things into certain paths. So it's been a lot of fun to learn.
Yeah, there are. It does sort of like you do need to develop habits with
Yeah,
because they get so open ended, and you're just like, well, do I use it here? And just like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of like group these modules together and just make things work there for a while. Eventually,
yeah.
you're just like you get tired of that sound, and
Hmm.
then you can shift things around. But yeah, there's a certain amount of like, wait, I gotta start somewhere.
I went as far as making a couple of snakes for the stuff coming out of the modular into my patch bay, and then back from the patch bay into the performance mixer, and that's been working really well for me.
Yeah, patch bay. Like I have a patch bay that I installed recently, and that really kind of was like, oh wow, it's so much more productive.
Yeah, it's a total
Especially like
total game changer.
I have like a lot of effects pedals, and they were just like not getting used,
Uh
and
huh.
now it's like, oh, I can just patch them in very easily and just like add something to whatever. Like I
Yeah.
just need a delay on this. Like okay, great, I could patch that in, and it's no problem. You
Yeah,
know.
and with the performance mixer, there's that as well, because you have the aux sends. You got a couple of them there.
Ah,
Um, so you can have any mix of things that you want going into your effects.
yeah. That's funny. Funny you mentioned sends because on that second piece, this is the dark secret of it. Um, so when I recorded it, I recorded everything to in the box in my DAW, and I recorded, oh, okay, I'll just send each track to a recording track and just print them basically as I go. And I had like all these sends set up, and I didn't record the sends. So you see a lot of knob turning that you're like, this guy's just faking it. Like no, I heard those, but I didn't actually record them. And it was funny because like I was watching the video, and I'm like, what's going on here? I was like, oh, I don't have the sends, and I was like, initially I was like, oh, you dumbass, but then I was like, nah, I don't need them.
I'm kind of in the same boat with that for now. I can record, I can capture most of the stuff coming into and out of
Yeah.
the performance mixer, but not everything. I just don't have enough inputs.
Yeah. I get it was something I had to do, like, I had to like make sure I did everything multi-track because there was so much going on. And I was like, I know I'm gonna need to do some sort of a little bit of post mixing on this because, there's just so many like elements and they're, cross pollinating, and then like the buchla will just go blah. Like, and so, I'm like, okay, I'll need to dial in some automation on those parts, just a little bit of stuff.
I
So
really like the moments in the second video where it just like purely visually you had the camera angle on the buchla, um, but you also before had the same angle on your guitar. It looked it looked very like visually uh,
it
nice.
just worked. That's why I'm glad you noticed that, because I noticed that too, and that just kind of worked out. Like I was just like, oh, I got to get some footage of the guitar thing here, and so I was filming the guitar and just kind of going. I had that angle where I was going kind of up and down the
Yeah.
neck, and then and then it just happened to work. It was not any great cinematographic plan, but it ended up being like this is the narrative of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like trying to like sort of blur the boundaries between the guitar and the synthesizer, and and so the fact that you have like that angle on the buchla is like, oh, they look like frets.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments of the second video as well, of those nice close-ups of the buchla and then the guitar frets coming in on like both ends.
Yeah.
Like that mirror effect. It was really fun.
Yeah, and it's funny that the mirror, like all the video feedback stuff, it was actual video feedback. So I used
Oh
I,
yeah.
I processed the image in Max. So I did some sweetening of the image in Max, but then I just fed it into my 19-inch CRT over here, and
There's
and then
nothing
fed
like
that back
video
to the
feedback from a CRT.
and so I was I was like, and it's like if I had actually done it in the computer, it probably would have turned out a little bit, nicer in some ways. Like,
Yeah.
but I was like, no, this is the process. I was like, I got to use this damn TV for something. Yeah.
Definitely, man.
So, yeah, it
Very
was
cool.
fun. Like, so clearly I was having fun. You was doing video feedback on the TV.
So, Peter, tell us a little bit about some of the other gear you're using. I noticed that you've got the Electron model
On
sample in there?
the model cycles. Yeah.
Cycles.
That's funny. I actually had a model samples for a short while and I returned it because I realized like what I really want is synthesizers. And I was like, I don't need a sampler. Like I was like, I have a computer. I don't I was like, I don't really need a sampler, but the model cycles it's unique. It has its own sound, and I really like the flexibility of it and the different, sounds you can get out of it. That track actually started on that first one started on a thing that I built. So my son was taking a violin after school class, and so we'd bike to the university, and he'd go and do his violin thing for an hour, and I'd just have to wait for him to be done. So I brought the model cycles with me, and I had a battery pack, headphones, and model cycles, and I just sit in the
Fun.
lawn and I just jam out, and I just laid out a bunch of patterns. And so that was the kind of the genesis of that. I pulled out one of those patterns, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can work with this. And I just started playing around with the mini log and adding stuff, and then I was like, okay, I know what I need to do here. It just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
But yeah, the model cycles is so cool because it's like it's inexpensive and it's super portable and durable, and like I love that I could just throw it in my bike and in the panniers and just go, rock out some stuff, and then I can bring it back in and do something with it.
That's
So
great to hear. Yeah,
yeah,
I've never used one. I've always admired Electron from everything that they've done. I've been looking at, last year I was looking at like maybe getting the model samples, but I haven't even considered the model cycles.
yeah, it's that, like I said, it's unique in its sound, and it has a good sort of gamut going on with it, and it's pretty accessible, and it's definitely Electron, so you got to sit down and like find some YouTube videos that explain what the hell's going on. And you better have a copy of that manual somewhere handy on your phone, because you're gonna need, I don't know, that's how I am with this stuff. But
Oh yeah.
and that was the other thing, like the fact that I could just like isolate with it and just be like, okay, I'm gonna learn this damn thing. So that was
I think it's
cool.
really cool that you say it's really portable and you're able to take it and while you're waiting for your son to play his violin, do his violin lesson, you're able to
Yeah.
take the cycle and hash out some tracks. And I love portability of contemporary gear. For me,
Yeah.
that's like one of the most useful things is to be able to get out of the studio and whether being inspired by the elements or just being able to travel and work on a track at the same time is really useful.
Yeah. And it's funny because like the iPad and the iPhone, have that sort of like, they have that promise, but I don't like it's never really fulfilled it for me. And I don't know if you guys have had any experience playing around with iOS stuff or
Carl?
They're the only iOS app that I ever use in making music is the Moog Animoog,
Mhm.
which I put my fingers on it a little bit tonight, not too much,
Okay.
but yeah, that thing is fun.
Yeah.
I like it because it's it's very much designed for iOS, for the product.
Yeah.
It's not really uh, there's nothing else that's really like it. And so just for that, it's a good time. I've had it for years and years and years. I think I got it. I think it was like right when I got my first iPad. That would have been like 2011 or 12 or something. So it was a long time ago, and it was one of those like, "Hey, it's free for a weekend" kind of
Yes.
things.
Exactly.
So I picked it up and I, played around with it for a while, and then I just didn't for a long time. Um, and every once in a while, I dig it out and spend like a couple months with it integrated into all my stuff, and then I'll just set it down again for another year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like some of the things like that are a nice voice. One thing I don't have like I don't really have a very good iPad. I have like an older version, and one of the things
Uh,
like I think Borderlands is probably the one I should probably get and get more familiar with, and because that's something that like I think would be rewarding in an isolated environment. Because it again, that is Borderlands is like I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
no,
it's
what does that do?
it's a granular synthesizer,
Oh,
so you can
that's
like load samples, and then you can really. It's very much about tactile manipulation of the samples, the waveforms, and you have a lot of like it's very much it's not trying to emulate hardware or anything. It's like you touch on a thing and then you can get some additional controls around it, and it's all very like touchscreen designed.
okay.
It's not skeuomorphic at all. It's like Minority Report shit.
Nice. I gotta check that out.
That's yeah, because I'm like, one of these days I need to mess around with that. But I don't know, the motorcycles is like it's so like as a piece of gear that you can travel with. It's like it's so self-contained. The Volcas are like that too.
Yeah.
Like you can just sort of like knock out a thing and no one's gonna call you on it.
So, so I've been using the Animoog Z
Oh yeah.
relatively recently. Like my friend Lenny Hamaker, also known as Otto Leon, uh, he got me to download it. I think it was for like a free trial sort of thing a couple months ago, and then they had a sale to purchase the license for I think it was like $10. So I ended up spending the $10, and I've played with it a little bit more just
Nice.
because it unlocks some more features, and it is really fun to play with. Lenny is much better at it. He understands it more than I do because he's probably spent a lot more time with it. But it is really fun, and you're able to record and save some your patches basically,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it has been really fun. And of course, it's really fun to just watch what's going on.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I went and I was kind of dicking around with it again, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll get another pack of patches and just see what how people are putting these things together, because I was pretty familiar with the ones that it came with. Um, and so I ended up getting one for like $1.99 or something. And it was all fart sounds as well. What would it ended up being?
Oh my god!
Wow, that's trolling.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
But it is like something like that. The nice thing about like that is like you said you can record with it. Like you can just knock out. And this is something like that's something I've done with. So I released an album many years ago. It seems like, and a lot of it is guitar work. And that really kind of the genesis of that was using Loopy HD. I think it's an iOS app.
Hmm.
And it's just a looper. And I was like I think it was at my mom's house, like staying for a little while, and I had my guitar with me, and I had that and a little interface, and so I just recorded these different things. Maybe I think I had a couple pedals too. I don't know. And so I just recorded some loops and some jams, and I just had all this material, and then I just dumped it into a DAW, and then it just became plastic, And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, and I could add a little bit here, and tweak this thing out here, and stretch them out, and edit, and and then it just sort of like that whole genesis of like these little scratch pieces that I had done turned into like a multi-year project.
Nice.
And so I think there's definite value, and that's kind of what I do with the model cycles, right? But yeah, I mean you can load up create a bunch of samples, and then load them up on like a one of those 2 HP. I have one of those 2 HP play modules, which
Yeah.
is like a sampler that it's the most basic modular sampler, right?
Yeah.
So
So, didn't 2HP make a Meow
Yes.
module?
Yeah. I think it's called the cat, isn't it? The 2 HP
Yeah,
cat.
that's it. Yeah, and Carl, I think maybe you know someone, or maybe you had it. I forget
I
who
did
had
not
it.
have it.
No, okay. There was somebody who had it and did a set
Yeah,
with
on
it, and it
EMS,
was
I remember
yeah,
seeing that. Yeah.
yeah, and it was pretty good.
Was it Hex 7?
Could have
Ah,
been, could have been. It
wow,
was. He made it really fun.
that's
I was
very
impressed.
specific.
I'll
But
ask around on the Discord. Who's got the
Okay.
cat?
there are a lot of interesting sounds those animals make, though. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was last night. I was watching the. I tried to watch the Black Cat with by Lucio Fulci.
Hmm.
Lucio Fulci.
uh,
Yeah. And stumbling over my Italian here because I've been like, it's sort of like another genesis of sort of like these overlays I was doing on that, and that sort of retro psychedelia definitely comes from a lot of indulgence in movies from like the late 60s and 70s. I've just been on a tear. a lot of like Euro genre films, and just visually they're just wonderful. And there are times when they really indulge in that. There's a really great documentary about it's called Clouseau's Inferno. So the French filmmaker Clouseau in 1969 started on this like epic movie that was never finished, and like one of the things they did, like he somehow got this crazy budget to do all this stuff, and he just started like hiring people to do these like op art and you know lighting experiments, and they'd go to the studio and they just like do all this stuff, and no one really knew what they were doing, but they did it anyway because they were getting paid and they loved doing it. and so there's a lot of footage that is just these wonderful op art, mechanical, and lighting psychedelia stuff. Um, and they're all screen. It's all screen test footage and
Wow.
really colorful, awesome documentary. Um, really good period. It's a good like period piece because it's all stuff people try to do with computers now, and this is all like mechanical and lighting trickery and some film trickery and trying to do things like that and
I love
optics.
that projector art, the oil and water,
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that stuff is so
oh,
cool.
that's cool stuff.
yeah. And so it was very kinetic
Hmm.
and and so like I was definitely thinking about that stuff when I'm kind of like, I got to get these overlays, doing the video feedback, trying to like do close-ups. And that one overlay is just close-up, super duper close-up of my
Oh, cool.
lighting fixture and the styrofoam.
Nice.
It's like packing foam so the thing doesn't roll off my table. So it's all about the accidents. And
I've
what
done
moves.
some shadow puppetry. That's really cool to do,
Yeah,
especially when you combine all that, the colors, projection art, shadow
yeah,
puppetry. It's all just so dope.
yeah. I mean, visuals are a good part of this whole electronic music scene.
Very important.
Yeah, it's really an important thing. And a lot of that comes from that sort of like that sort of the psychedelia immersive
Happenings, be-ins,
happenings. And it's like
acid tests.
yeah, and it was like everybody's talking about VR, and like we still haven't gotten over that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, take 250 mics and call me in the morning. That's VR.
Right. Except that was like reality enhancement or reality shifting, and now it's like I don't know. I'm not. It's like VR. It's like it's kind of interesting in some ways, but it's like it's so isolating. It doesn't feel very enticing to me.
Yeah,
I still haven't explored VR very much. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't really seem. I don't know, I'm just not interested in it.
Right. It
Honestly.
doesn't speak to me. It does not speak to me.
No, like I don't want to sit with with something this close to my eyes if they're not glasses that I need to see from. It just seems kind of weird.
It does seem weird, but I'm old. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't tried it. Maybe I would enjoy it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
again, like I don't play a lot of video games, and I think the VR thing really plays to people playing video games online with other people, and it's just not something that I do.
Right.
No, I guess I'm just
it's
not
a
the
little
market.
disorienting if you're not used to it.
Yes.
That's what I
So
found.
far, the only thing I really enjoy about it are like the user videos of people in a living room and they bump into something, and that's kind of fun. But let's.
Right.
But Carl, tell us a little bit more about your set tonight. So you've got what the DFAM and was it the Sub 32 going on together?
Mother 32.
Mother 32. My mistake.
Yeah, I had the Mother 32 going on. I was utilizing a lot of. I was using a couple of different glitch modules. I have the Modbat Performer
Oh, cool.
that I have at the end of my chain. It's just like right there, so I can have it, completely wet, 100%, or back it off like quite a bit, just kind of for background stuff. But um, I was using that, and then farther back in line, I had some kind of chaotic percussion going on at the very beginning. That was a bunch of samples loaded into the Pico drums, the sample version of Pico drums.
Mm.
I like to use that for a lot of chaos in my patches. My favorite thing to do with it is to stick, put it into sample select CV over sample select, so I can run
Yes.
an LFO in there, switch the samples every time it triggers. There's a new sample.
Yeah.
And you can kind of dial that in where it's just like selecting a couple, or you can dial it in so it does the whole range or whatever. But I like to do that and run it into the 2 HP freeze. And so that's what that was some of that glitchy stuff that sounded like it was kind of had a little tail to it. So it's like,
I was wondering if that was sequenced or if that was, I wasn't sure. Like, so it sounds like it's all like the result of modulation, I guess.
yeah,
Not a sequence running. That's cool.
exactly. I do a lot of that. And it was kind of neat. I never really played a lot with it, with the two together, and so I guess about halfway in, I was kind of, or before the beat started, I was kind of doing a lot of that, like having like kind of different mix of both going on, just playing that with the performance mixer. And what else was I doing? I don't know what I was doing. I built this patch a couple of days ago. I built it on Monday, and messed around with it. Like I said, everything I've been doing lately has been, let's see what I can do with the performance mixer. Oh, for this, I had I was playing around with just the ducking on it, and so I had the kick drum tied in with an envelope that was malted out and attenuated into some of the volume control inputs on the performance mixer. So every time, it's just a way of doing that without a compressor.
Right. It's just side chaining and
Yeah,
side chaining with envelopes, right? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So that was fun. I wanted to see how well that worked, and it worked pretty well for me. I was able to dial it in pretty well, where I could, I where I liked it. I could hear it when I first had it hooked up. I didn't quite have the. I didn't have it hooked up right. There's so many damn wires in here, I don't know where any of them go.
Oh, I know. I know.
Thank God they're color coded, I guess.
Oh,
so
yeah, mine are.
so I can
They're
find
just
them.
colored.
Yeah, so I finally figured, shit, that's not even on. So I turned it on. And I didn't really, other than that, I didn't really place, some of the parts that I had put together, because I put it together a couple days ago. So there was like a whole section that I really neglected. I kind of feel bad about that now.
It's very easy to do because it's just like you get caught up in it.
Yeah. I mean, I always sound best after I've been playing for like an hour.
Yeah, right. You know what you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Do you get to play out live very often, or
I've
are you
played
most?
out. I played out a handful of times, only kind of once since the since the pandemic has been over.
This is the shutdown. Let's just call it
Yeah, yeah. Okay, there you go. Um,
before things opened up again, before we started breathing our truth.
there, exactly on
Yeah,
each other again. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I need to I need to get out and play more live,
yeah.
because I I really like it so much. That's why I wanted to play live here,
Hmm.
um, because I'm just kind of what I'm used to doing.
Yeah,
I've been kind of working at that over the past 2 years, where I'm comfortable. I mean, it, playing live pre-pandemic, I was kind of in a stage of my journey with modular where I would really spend a lot of time, which now I would almost consider non-productive time, putting the patch together and getting it just right, kind of obsessing over arrangement,
yeah.
Hmm.
kind of thing, and that sort of thing. I don't even really think about it too much anymore.
Mm,
When I build a patch, I'm building a collection of sounds that um, is pleasing to me to have
yeah.
together,
Hmm.
and I'm a heck of a lot faster at it now, um, and I often end up like I play once a week religiously.
Hmm.
That's Sunday nights, 10 o'clock. I broadcast on EMS and then on my Twitch channel at the same time as well. It's Wokeass Messiah's Sunday service. You're you're
Yay!
all welcome to hear the word every week. And I've been, like I
I
said,
enjoy it. It's good.
thanks. I've been religious about that just so that I can, practice this kind of live situation.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of times I'll only give myself an hour beforehand. Like I'll start building my patch at 9 o'clock and just
Mhm.
build it up until 10, take the hour, hit play, and go.
Right.
And that's a mode that I'm, uh, pretty comfortable with right now.
Ah, that's a nice idea. I'm for me, like I'd like to run that through YouTube. I can't stream to YouTube right now, though. I guess can I? There was something I tried to do recently, and it was like you don't
Have you
have
been banned?
no, no, you don't have enough subscribers. You're too much of a loser. You can't do this thing on YouTube. And I feel like it was like streaming live or something. And I was like,
Uh,
dang, what's up with that?
no,
Yeah, I think it was through YouTube. No, I don't know.
no,
Maybe
you can stream live on YouTube anytime you want.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was yeah. It was something.
It's
It was
kind of a pain. I
yeah.
think I don't necessarily stream to YouTube myself. I was finding, when I started streaming on EMS,
Mhm.
it was so much different than just streaming on my own channel because, like, hey, there's a built-in audience here, and we can all encourage each other and
Yeah.
be part of
Is
this
that a
community.
Discord channel?
Yep.
EMS is lives on the Discord, but
Yeah.
its primary sensory organ would be the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's a shared YouTube channel. So
Wow.
everybody, if you join the Discord and say, "Hey, I want to stream," you get your own key
Hmm.
to the stream, and you hit stream in your OBS, and you are live on EMS.
Interesting.
And some of us have kind of figured out different ways that we can stream, to EMS and then also to our own YouTube channel, or I tend to stream to EMS and then my Twitch
Mm,
channel a lot.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I
Good to
haven't
know. I'll
tried
have to
doing
check
it
it
yet
out.
myself. It's
Yeah.
Carl. I do know about that, and I haven't tried it yet on doing live streaming through EMS yet. It's just something that I'm still building up to getting there.
Hmm.
And I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad that many other people are doing it, and EMS is a wonderful community.
Can you put a
Yeah,
can you put a link in the comments to whatever, like, the EMS
I
the
can
dis-
email
sensory
you.
organ?
yeah. We it'd be cool if we could get a link to the invite link to the Discord and the YouTube channel, which I think is
Yeah,
just YouTube slash. I'm not going to say it. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you the wrong thing.
yeah,
I have a shortcut
yeah.
that I use.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll make sure you get it. I can probably email you a link later, Peter.
yeah. But I mean, just for the whoever's watching or comes across this stream in the future, they'll be like, "What is this EMS thing? That
Yeah,
sounds
right.
interesting."
As
put
soon
it
as
in
it's
put
fine.
it in the comments or in the whatever the description of the video. So yeah. All
So
right.
yeah, I streamed on EMS for a year, and then I decided for this year I wanted to work on Twitch, and it was right around like the time I was kind of thinking about that. That I think it was you that turned me on to the Golden Shrimps, Corey.
Oh, I did. Okay,
You
cool.
did, yeah. You sent me a link to the Synth Fest, which I hadn't really been clued into,
Oh,
and
cool.
I kind of spent that weekend kind of checking out. I joined the Discord, and then I spent time checking out Synthfest, and was just sort of like, holy crap,
So
it's
much. There's so many people. It's wonderful.
yeah. And then I got involved with it because of that, and did that January Synthfest, and I've just been streaming really regularly through my
Oh,
Twitch channel.
I'm so glad you're doing that. That's
Yeah,
really
and
great.
I never really thanked you for it, so thank you.
Oh, okay.
That was really sweet.
Cool, man.
All
Oh,
right.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Really glad to hear that. Just so you guys know, Rich pointed out that for YouTube, you have to enable and sign up for live streaming on YouTube.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you, Rich. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
All right.
Yeah, and I sent out a little. I think I put it in the YouTube chat for anyone interested. Is if you want to find more information about the Earth Monitor Society, I put up the Twitch account, so you can find that if you want to watch along on when people are live streaming, and it's always a cool thing. You can. I think they, Carl. I think don't they have it just going at like 24/7? Anyone who wants to
That's right.
stream,
Yeah.
they can just
There's
jump on.
there are a few people that have a hold music key,
Hmm.
and the way EMS works is that it's streaming 24/7, and most of the time now there is a hold music going.
Right.
It's usually Schmooster's rig that's just like going off. And it's cool. You could like tune in and like see what's going on with the beast that day. It's kind of cool. But then anytime anybody wants to stream, uh, they have a key that can knock out the hold music,
Right.
and then you
Okay.
get a notification. I get notifications on the Discord that says, "Hey, so and so is live," and then you can
Oh, okay.
check it out. And then when you finish, the way it works most of the time is the hold music just kicks right back in.
Yeah. All right. That sounds cool. I'll have to check that out because it's like it sounds like a great way to practice. It sounds a good way to, like, you know
Yeah,
make sure there's a
it
couple people watching and make sure you're account
exactly.
that.
And one of the neat things on it as well. There's a weekly talk show, sort of just like a get together
Mm,
for about an hour. It's called What the Heck, hosted by our Heck Seven, and that's a lot of fun. There's usually two or three guests, little rundown introduction at the beginning, and then it's just like a talk. It's really similar to what we're doing right now.
yeah.
Oh, I need to check that out. I haven't done that yet. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, lately it's been on Sunday mornings about 10 o'clock. I was going to be on it
Hmm.
or 9 o'clock. That's what it was. I was going to be on this week, but I was a little. It was early. I didn't have my coffee, and I couldn't do it. So I ended up watching. But it's a really fun show to be on. It's a fun show to watch.
Excellent. And so I was curious about if either of you are working on doing any productions of, like, are you putting any albums out or doing any collaborations anytime soon that are any upcoming releases? Do either of you have anything to announce?
Unfortunately, I do not.
I don't have. I've been. Um, working on kind of I have a few jams that I've identified that I kind of want to massage into existence. You know, take an hour jam and kind of get the 20 minutes that's really tight out, which is its own thing. A lot of my recordings are um, just stereo out.
Yeah,
Um,
Hmm.
and so that can be a challenge, but
yeah,
it's kind of a fun challenge to successfully mix. The last thing that I put out on my Bandcamp, I think the last thing was an album called The Geyer, and that was kind of put together from a number of different jams that were much longer. Um, so that's fun. I like to do that, and I'm working on one right now. I've got maybe half of it done, um, from a something I did last spring, and then something I did this spring.
yeah.
Okay.
I've been sitting on some material for a couple years now that I've slowly, like, I've getting fits and starts. It's like, okay, I get a bunch of stuff done, and then it kind of is on hold, and then get a bunch of stuff done, and so it's probably like, I don't know. I think it's probably 80% there.
Mhm.
And I was working with another guy to mix it, and he was doing some really nice stuff with it. And it's all really kind of like abstract. It's all very simple, stripped down stuff. And again, it was like stuff I was at a vacation house, and in the mornings I would just jam with like a Volca FM, SH 101, and then I think I had some other, maybe Volca beats or something. No, I didn't even have any beats. There's no beats in it. Maybe something else. Like, I would just, and then I used an iPad to track it, and so I would just.
Oh, cool.
So I built up this material, and then kind of produced it. And then some of the stuff just was like, there's stuff that was just fucked up in it. That really killed my spirit. That was after the last mixing session. We like did this mixing, and then I was like, wait, what's this distortion? And then like went back and found that it was like some bug in like the delay thing. And
Oh,
oh god, this sucks.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Total buzzkill. And so so they've kind of got it there. So I've been hoping to get that finished over the past year, but it's been kind of static for a while.
Mhm.
I do have a collection um, of sound designs, like library sounds
Mhm.
that I've been working on, and I've been kind of shopping that around slowly, and I did a bunch of recordings, just kind of like chromatic samples of using an ebow on an acoustic guitar and
Fun.
on a bass guitar, and kind of and trying to, like, kind of sample each note. And it was really interesting, extremely challenging, because when you do something like that, you really kind of want this consistency,
Mhm.
across. But because of the ebo is all about resonance. Like, every time you put your finger on a fret and use a different string, like the resonances change and different across the whole length of the string. And so
Sure.
really kind of had to get to know that stuff and see what I could do with it. And generated this really wonderful library of all these sounds. And I've done some experiments and loaded them into like a multi-sampler, and um, it's just phenomenal. Like, like, they're just huge sounds that just are organic and synthetic at the weird same time. So I'm really excited
Neat.
about the material, but like the production aspect of it, of boiling it down and making like good playable instruments out of it that can be used more universally and creatively.
Mhm.
Because it's like I could take the sounds and do stuff for my own purpose, fine, but I come up with these interesting ideas, like, making random changes, and you get this really like organic instrument out of it. But if, like, I'm like, if somebody's using this in a movie, it needs to play back the same time twice, right? It needs to play back in the same. But I can't introduce this randomness like that,
Mhm.
because then they use it, and then they score something with it, and then they come back to it, and it's like, no, that's different. So I got to figure out, like, oh wait, there's an audience for this that has utility in mind. So
Mhm.
it's really an interesting challenge, and it's new to me, because that customer is not someone that I know intimately.
Sure.
But the sounds, like I said, I'm really excited about them, and hopefully I can get those out in some like multi-sample formats for people. Um, probably, and like, there's also like the end. What is the end product? Is it a contact instrument? Is it a Logic sampler instrument? Like it's just so confusing. all these like product decisions one must make. So, but that's what I do. So that's what I have to move forward. It's just not something I've really done with like a sound design pack of that breadth. So that is something that I'm looking to release. And again, it sort of follows that narrative that I chase of like the synthetic and organic aspects of the guitar and the synthesizer, and
Mhm.
how do I confuse the two? So
Love it.
I've always been. I'm still an admirer of the Sensel morph, and
yeah,
I think that's really how we kind of met. Is like I saw you at a couple of trade shows, and you were demoing the Sensel morph. You had this wonderful kind of video grid set up so that as you like put more pressure on the surface with your fingers, you would watch this like 3D grid just kind of like move.
Mm.
yeah.
It was
So
really cool.
this thing is super cool. Like, but now it's on Obtainium because they decided to not move forward with this product.
Hmm.
It didn't fit their business. And then that also kind of impacted me because I got laid off. So, if anybody out there is hiring
no.
some weird dude, that's me. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like in this midlife transition. It's very weird. But yeah, this product I adore it, and it was kind of like I've been working in MIDI controllers for decades now. And this was kind of like when I came to this was like the company had made the product, but it really was sort of, they had a very different vision of it from what they could actually do with it, right? Because they kind of had this idea of it being like more of a graphics tablet thing, but it didn't really work very well for that. But the music stuff was phenomenal, and so that's kind of where I came in, just be like, okay, well, here's how we can make this work as a music
Oh, neat.
um
I remember, Peter, you told me once that you wanted to develop some of those skins that you have that are all rubber. You wanted to make a leather one.
a leather one, yeah. And that's still something in the back of my mind, but I don't have access to a laser cutter anymore. But yeah, that was really something I like. I had a lot of products I wanted to do with that, but we just were never really able to move forward on those products because the future of the product was always in limbo, and that was always in the back of our heads, and so we couldn't really get the support from the company to really like to just go fully forward with that product. We were a small team, and we were trying to do the best what we could with what we had, which was a fairly phenomenal piece of technology. But but we couldn't like, okay, we got the Thunder overlay out, and that's kind of like a real crowning achievement, and for me personally and professionally and artistically,
Yeah,
and culturally, like that was just awesome to be able to have the opportunity to do that.
it
But it
seems to
was
be
hard.
the most popular skin for it.
It was, and that was like one of the great moments that was just like, oh, this is so awesome because this is the weirdest thing like you could do as a product, but like there's so many alternative controllers out there that just don't go anywhere. This really was like, oh, this is a great format for doing things that are niche and getting people to adopt them,
Mhm.
because it put it in a format that was accessible, and in a way that like it didn't marry you to this some big thing. It was like, okay, well, I like this thing, I can try it, I can always go back to the piano if I need to, or do an MPC thing, or whatever. And so yeah, that was kind of like the controller I had always really wanted to do. I don't have another one, so I worked with Livid Instruments for a long time. I helped start that company. We did one, and one of the last ones we did was the bass, and that was like I don't have one here, but it was it was a drum controller thing. It was an 8x4 drum pads, and it had some capacitive sliders at the top. Um, and and it was all pressure sensitive, velocity sensitive, and that was like really like, okay, this is what I want. I want this pressure. I want to be able to hit and stroke and and just have this sort of amorphous playing surface, but that is still musical. And so the morph kind of like blew that out of the water. So it's really like, damn, I think it was cool. So yeah.
There was another skin. Is the maker's skin? That's like basically kind of like a blank canvas.
Yeah, blank
just like
slate.
the blank slate. You can just put it. You can just like make up your own design on a piece of paper and just kind of put it underneath.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And you work with the API, so you can just use multi-touch stuff. There's a lot of great. There's some examples on my YouTube channel. I have a performance where I documented like working with it just as a multi-touch instrument in Pure Data, and that instrument was one I'm really proud of. Like I felt like I really got a really like great intimacy out of it, in a way that you don't get out of a plastic keyboard,
Yeah.
And then the all the Sensible YouTube stuff. There were some other examples in there. I really went to town with it, and I had a really great opportunity to really kind of spread my wings with that controller, and like it felt like anytime I would do something left of center, like that was the stuff that kind of got attention, and it was so satisfying, and it was like, oh god, I just want to like keep throwing niche products out there, because it was like this is like one of the first hardware products that can really like kind of hit that long tail, that has been so mythical.
I remember seeing. Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but I remember seeing in 2019 Sirnai, the industrial music performer out here in the Bay Area. Caroline Falk. She performed with this. I think she used maybe 2 Sensormorphs, but one of them was set up with the translucent overlay, and she had taken a drawing from her son, and she put that in there, and was able to design and control one of her synthesizers during her performance at the Gray Area Lab right after Morton Subotnick's set.
Wow.
And it was phenomenal.
Yeah. Her set was great. I was at that same show.
That was really good.
Yeah, because I worked with her, and that reminds me, she sent me an email a few days ago, and I need to get back to her. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, it's always wonderful to hear from Carolyn.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Speaking of Subotnick, though, he's playing in the Gray Area.
He is a friend of mine. I even asked me if I'm going to go to the show, and I'm not going to be able to go to the show, but I hope my friend does go to the show, because he hasn't seen Morton Subotnick live yet, and he needs to see Morton Subotnick live.
Yeah, so this is like one of the last. I mean, Subotnick is obviously, not obviously, I shouldn't say that, but he's definitely a huge influence on my relationship to sound, and so I got to see him when, before Caroline, and I do have a ticket to the show. I'm very excited.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, the Buchla, like my interest in that's from, listening to Subotnick records, and, and just like the fascination, like that. It's still to this day, like something like Touch just sounds so fresh, and it's so different, and it's so different, but again, it's like he really he worked with Don, and really like they saw that vision, they saw it through, and they were able to produce something electronic and but not technological,
Right, because Don Buchla's vision was to design electronics for artists, not musicians specifically.
Right.
And because he wanted the artist eye perspective of being able to approach some this piece of hardware with a totally different perspective than a musician would perform on it.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And he did it 100%. And it's always, to me, any Buchla is always really inspiring I love the sound of a booklet. There's nothing else to me. There's nothing else like a booklet.
Right. It
When you
is. It
hear
is
it.
interesting because it's like it is the so many synthesizers are sort of chasing the same sort of goals and using a lot of the same technology. And it's funny because even like now there's been a huge resurgence in the past 10 years or so of the Buchla sound. But yeah, there is something about it. It's like it has a brassy sound, and part of it is just like the fact that the waveforms that get so complicated, and that they're shaped and distorted, and you can do that on a modulated basis. And even if they're not modulated, they're still changing all the time. And then you run it through that low pass gate, and just and it just really, sometimes it's just like, oh, am I listening to an orchestra? I don't what the hell am I listening to? But it doesn't necessarily sound like a piece of technology,
Mhm.
and I think that's really fantastic.
Sounds like an event. It's something that happens. Something that happens.
It sounds like a happening.
Yeah. There you go.
That sounds kind of psychedelic.
Yeah.
Hey.
All
Hey,
for it.
so we're getting a little close to 9 p.m. And before we go, Carl, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this wonderful collection of vinyl behind you.
Oh, hey, yeah, this is my record collection right here.
Yeah.
Got some. I picked out. Well, I only picked out. Sometimes, if I have the thing in view, I'll have records that are put out for a reason. But right now, the only one that I have that's out for a reason is the Etai record that I just got a couple of weeks ago, and that's a cool record. I like that one a lot. But this is a nice cabinet that a friend of mine helped me build about 20 years ago. It's got little flaming skulls on it, and I like it because this you can kind
Yeah.
of flip through the records here, and then down below it's got you can't see, but there's 2 rows of spine out um, that you can
Yeah.
flip through as well.
That's a
That's
nice
awesome.
setup.
Yeah,
That's a good
thanks.
setup.
Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, the turntable's in the other room, so I need to get one in this room and be able to run it through the synthesizer and everything. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
Oh,
kids'
good.
records and like weird, uh, uh, commercial records from the '60s, car commercials. And I had a buddy that worked at a radio station, so he when they were clearing out their stuff, he gave me a whole bunch of
Gold mine.
really sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic.
Farm reports. It was a Midwestern radio station, so I got some farm reports.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
God, what a strange piece of history.
Oh yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yep.
Like, wow. It's
Gotta-
probably very different.
Yeah. If I imagine getting your daily farm reports on a vinyl record every day.
That's so cool.
Oh, there's a business in that.
Yeah.
That's an amazing business model, right? God.
It was.
Awesome. All
Cool.
right.
Well, guys, it's just up. We're almost at 9 o'clock, and I want to thank you both for coming on, performing, and chatting with us today. Me, I guess, and it was really wonderful.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
been a lot of
it's-
fun.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
It was nice meeting you both, and I'm sure we'll see each other around.
All right.
Most definitely. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching at home. Please stay home and stay safe, and we'll see you next month. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.